Hey there, I'm assuming that if you clicked on this video, you don't know how to draw hands, and that was me not that long ago. And honestly, I am so proud of myself for learning how to draw hands, and it's so much easier than I thought it was. It's just sometimes we tend to overcomplicate things, so I'm gonna put it in very simple, easy ways of how I draw hands. There are many ways that people draw hands. I believe the way that I draw it is called the bamboo method. So I have some examples right here of hands, and we're gonna look at the shape right here. So I had a friend of mine who taught me some of these things, and I still use it. So when I draw hands, I usually look at the first, the shape here. So this hand is hanging down, and I always start with the palm like this, because if I don't do this, I always draw the fingers way too long and the palm of the hand way too small, non-existent. We could put this part right here, the wrist. So the bamboo method basically is the fingers. They look like bamboo because you got one rectangle here, you put a line here for this knuckle, and then I hope you can see it. There's the other one and the tip of the finger, so it looks like this basically. So I always keep in mind that we have bone, a bone here. So you could draw a circle. I like to draw the knuckle like this, and then so we're gonna draw the first rectangle, and then the second rectangle, and then the tip of the finger. So there's our pinky already. And then for the next one, so instead of making the fingers look like this, I like to put a little, this shape right here. And then the knuckles don't align, so they kind of go in this kind of shape. You can see it here too, like an arch. So you could put a line like that. I don't really do that. I just kind of, the longer the finger, the further the knuckle goes down. So our ring finger and our index finger are actually the same length. So all you have to worry about is making the pinky shorter and your middle finger longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rectangles, and then the tip of the finger. There's another finger, we're gonna do the little arch, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the index finger, and I'm gonna draw the knuckles here. And I'll just draw this one the exact same length, the knuckles matching with the ring finger. And then our thumb, because the hand's relaxed, it's not gonna stick out like it would here, like this. So you don't really have to worry about that. You can put a little, you can't really see it, can you? The little bone right there that's relaxed, and then we have one here. There's the first little spot, and then the knuckle right here, and then we have the tip of the finger. I usually don't draw the knuckle, but you can. And there is one hand. And I just erase the guidelines. You can smoothen it out. This is a sketch. If you're doing line art, obviously you do it a lot nicer. I'm not gonna do super fancy line art or anything, but I started just sketching and doodling hands whenever I could, and yeah, it helped a lot. And you can adjust whatever you want according to your style, because I know people draw things differently. So I mean, it doesn't look perfect, but it's a lot better than how I used to draw hands. So there's one hand. For more dynamic sort of like gestures like this, I still look at the palm first, and I use a lot of references. References are really important. It's really hard to draw things without reference, especially things you're not confident in drawing. Whenever I'm drawing hands, I use the reference picture. So like if I'm doing a full body and I have to draw a hand, I zoom in as much as I can, and if I can't see the hand but I want to include a hand, I usually take a picture of my own hand, or I look up different hand poses, because there's a lot of references like that on Pinterest. So I look at my reference. We have our palm here. All you have to do is acknowledge a shape, and then you can go ahead and draw that shape. It doesn't have to be identical, just pretty similar. You know, like, you get the idea. So for the thumb, we have our first little square right there, and then the tip of the thumb. So I'm gonna do a little square, and then the tip of the thumb. Index finger, gonna draw a little bamboo. So there's a square. They're either squares or rectangles depending on how long you want the fingers to be. Everyone has different size hands. And there's also this right here that I like to draw. And you can draw this one as well. Here it gets a little bit more difficult for me sometimes, but I try to think about it as like a cylinder. And we have these lines right here on our fingers, and I use those lines. They're basically guidelines, so I just kind of follow that. We do our little cylinder. Like that. And then this one's the same way. So and it can be really rough and messy, because I feel like the rougher the sketch is, the more freedom you have to kind of like figure out how you want it to look. Like I said, everyone has different hands, and according to your style, hands might look differently. Not everyone draws accurate hands. Some people like to draw longer fingers or like bigger hands. So I tend to draw longer fingers, but I'm trying to draw kind of like the same length that this has. And I like to draw the nail too, because it lets me know kind of where the front of the finger is. And then this one's hidden back here. We really just have like this right here, and then the tip of the finger. So then, you know, we have something similar. And if you're using digital art, you have the liquify tool that I love to use. Drew this kind of, yeah, there we go. I like to make the thumb right here stick out a little bit more. So you get the idea. It's very easy when you look at it as shapes. So if we take a look at a hand right here, it's really just the basic, like the palm. And you can do the little bone right here for the thumb, the wrist, and then the bamboo method, which is drawing little bamboos. So if you want longer fingers, they're rectangles. If you want shorter fingers, they're squares. But it's usually the pinky is 1, 2, 3 with the tip of the finger. You can either round it off, or some people like to draw more square fingers. That's fine. The ring finger is the same. It's 1, 2, 3. Middle finger, 1, 2, 3. Middle finger is always the longest finger. index and ring finger are the same size. Pinky is actually it's the second shortest. The thumb would be your shortest. 1, 2, 3, they're relatively the same size. And then the thumb, which is 1, 2. And then the knuckles, I like to draw like the knuckle right here and then the bone. Not everyone has bony hands, so you could just draw the knuckle. And then I like to put the wrist bone right here. And for bent fingers, for me, I realized that drawing bent fingers is a lot easier. So we have our palm of the hand right here, right? We have our thumb, so 1, 2, our index finger 1, 2, and it's because it's bent, it's gonna look a lot shorter, but it's just the perspective. When the finger is bent, so depending on how bent it is, the same rules still apply. So you have right here is the first this part right here is the first rectangle. It's hidden behind this one right here. Yeah, the second one, and then the third one, which is the tip of the finger. This one, you can't see the first one, so we just do 1, 2, and this one is just 1, 2. And then I like to draw this part and this part right here. And I like to extend the bone here, even if it's not visible in the reference. It's just maybe not that much. That's just how I do it. So yeah, drawing hands is a lot easier. Now, if this kind of warm-up is still hard for you, trust me, just spend like 30 minutes repeating the same process. It's okay to use pictures like this and trace over them like how I did, just to kind of like get the hang of knowing where to put what and getting familiar with hands and what they look like, how they bend and all that. Just give it 30 minutes and you'll start to get the hang of it. I struggled to draw hands for the longest time and literally just sat down and did these warm-ups for like 30 minutes and I was like, oh my god, I can draw hands. It's all just shapes, squares and rectangles. That's all hands are, honestly. And you can round edges off like the tips of the fingers, or this part right here that some people might draw it more like this than like this, up to your personal preference. But honestly, that's all hands are squares and rectangles. So I hope that my short little explanation helped. I just wanted to share it because I've become pretty confident in drawing hands. And yeah, I'll probably do other little tutorials because I've been learning how to draw a lot of stuff lately. So see you in the next one then.